In this video, we will demonstrate how to design labels specifically for use with Citizen label printers. For this demonstration, we'll be using an application called BarTender, which runs on Windows. This software is available free of charge when you purchase a Citizen label printer. You can find the download URL in the quick start guide included with your printer. If you're unsure, please contact Citizen Systems technical support. When you do, be ready to provide your printer model name and serial number. Next, we will demonstrate how to design and print a simple package label using BarTender software. BarTender is already downloaded and installed on this computer. To start BarTender, open the Windows menu, go to BarTender, and select BarTender Designer. If the welcome window appears in the center of your screen, you can either start from there or close it and click the New button in the top left corner. Either way, the new document wizard will appear. Here, you will be asked to choose settings for your new label. Before demonstrating the correct method, we will first examine a common mistake. If you just click Finish right away, you can begin designing a label, placing text, adding barcodes, and printing. It will print something like what you see on screen. However, because you skipped selecting the printer model and label size, the result may not print correctly. You could end up with misaligned labels, or blank labels being fed out every other sheet. That's why it's important to follow the steps in the new document wizard carefully. On the first screen, blank template is already selected, leave it as is and click Next. The next screen is printer selection, and this is a crucial step. Make sure to highlight the Citizen printer model you'll actually be using for printing. If your printer doesn't appear in this list, that means the printer driver hasn't been installed yet. Please install the driver first, then try the wizard again. Once you've highlighted the correct printer model, click Next. On the next screen, Specify Custom Settings is already selected, just click Next. On the Items per Page screen, also click Next. Now we come to the label size, which is very important. For example, let's say we're using labels that are attached to a liner, and the actual label area is 4.5 inches wide by 4 inches high. Since there's unused material on both sides of the liner, leave Yes, it does have some unused material on the sides selected, and click Next. Because the label shape is a rounded rectangle, leave Rounded Rectangle selected, and click Next. Next, enter the label size. Since our label is 4.5 by 4.0 inches, type in width, 4.5 inches, height, 4.0 inches, then click Next. Be sure to enter the size of the label itself, not including the liner. For the remaining screens, you can leave the default settings and simply click Next until you reach Finish. At the bottom left of the window, you'll now see that you are set up to design a label for the Citizen CLE331Z printer, with a label size of 4.5 by 4.0. Now let's place some objects on the label: text, barcodes, and images. For text, click the A icon on the toolbar, select Normal, and click on the label area to place it. When you move the pointer around the edges of the text box, the pointer changes to a cross. Use this to drag and move the text object. Click inside the box to enter text. For example, let's type sirloin steak. BarTender also has alignment tools that let you center objects horizontally on the label. Try using those. Next, let's add a barcode. Click the barcode icon on the toolbar and choose the symbology you want. For instance, if you want to use UPCA, type UPCA in the search box, then select it. Place it on the label just like the text object. Now let's add an image. If you have an image file in PNG, BMP, or JPEG format, you can simply drag and drop it onto the label area. For example, here we'll drop in a .jpg file. To resize the image, drag the handles around the object. BarTender also includes other features, such as drawing lines by clicking the line icon. That covers the basics of placing objects on a label. Next, let's talk about printer-resident fonts and printer-resident barcodes. If you select the text object we placed earlier and look at the font name in the top left corner, you'll see which font is currently in use. The font list shows both the fonts installed on your computer and the fonts built into the printer. If you select a computer font, the printer driver will generate the text as an image and send it to the printer. But if you use the printer's built-in fonts, printing will be faster and the results will be cleaner. Printer resident fonts are marked in the list with a small printer icon next to their names. The same idea applies to barcodes. You can either send them as images from Windows or use the printer's built-in barcode functions. Using the built-in barcodes also results in faster and higher quality printing. To use a printer resident barcode, double-click the barcode object. Then go to the Symbology and Size window. In the bottom right, expand the Print Method section. Here you'll see an option for Human Readable Text, which refers to the characters printed below the barcode. To use the printer's built-in barcode and human readable text, select the top option. Now, let's explore how to configure a label so that its layout remains consistent while the data is updated dynamically at print time. For example, instead of always printing sirloin steak and the same barcode, you may want to change the product name or barcode data each time you print. BarTender provides a feature called Data Entry Form. Click the Form 1 tab at the bottom of the screen. The dialog box shown here represents the form that will appear when you print. On the left panel, expand the text and barcode objects to see the data we entered earlier. Drag and drop these items onto the dialog design area. For example, drag the numeric portion of the barcode onto the form, and do the same for the sirloin steak text. Now let's update the labels for the fields. Double-click the top field labeled Enter Data and change it to Product Number. Double-click the lower Enter Data field and change it to Product Name. Next, set default values. For the Product Number text box, double-click it. Highlight Data Entry on the left. And on the right under Default select Use Sample Data. Repeat the same steps for the Product Name text box. If you want the option to print multiple copies of the same label, you can add that too. From the left panel, drag Copies onto the form. Rename it to Copies. For its default value, highlight Data Entry, and choose Use Specified Value, then set it to 1. You can then adjust the layout of the form as you like, move objects around, add lines, and so on. When you're done, click the Template 1 tab at the bottom to return to the label design screen, and try printing. Click the print icon on the toolbar. Then click the Print button in the dialog. Normally printing would begin right away, but since we designed a data entry form, that form will appear first. Here you can change the product name to stew beef. Set the number of copies to 5. And print all without changing the original label design layout. If you'd like to check how your label will look before printing, click the Preview button instead of Print. You'll see the same data entry form as before. For example, replace sirloin steak with stew beef, then click Preview. An image of the label, exactly as it would be printed, will be displayed on screen. Here's an example of a more realistic label design, based on what we've done so far. The objects placed on the label are almost the same as in the earlier demonstration, but there's one difference. When placing a text object that may contain multiple lines, we use normal wrapped instead of normal. With normal wrapped, the text flows naturally within the size of the box you define. When printing this label format, you'll again see the data entry form, where you can change fields such as pack date or sell by date before printing. Let's go ahead and print this sample. In this example, the product name and product number were not set to be editable at print time. Instead, we duplicated this label format and prepared separate files for each product. This way, you can manage your operation by preparing one label format per product, and only change the date or price at the time of printing. That concludes our walkthrough of label design using BarTender. Finally, a note about the software. The version of BarTender provided free with Citizen printers is the ultralight edition. BarTender itself is developed by a separate company called Seagull Software, and it comes in several other editions. The paid editions of BarTender include advanced features, such as using CSV files as databases and automating printing. Please note that Citizen does not provide technical support for BarTender usage, regardless of whether you are using the free or paid editions. For instructions on how to use BarTender, please refer to the help menu in the application.